Questions for Tom.
Well, since I'm here and it's a big game, I guess. I mean, we've been talking about it a while. You guys were worried about one game at a time and stuff like that, but it comes down to one game. I guess. What's the feeling getting to this point and knowing what you got to do?
Well, that's just it. It is knowing what you got to do, and it's against a really good team. Of the games that are decisive across the country this weekend, we have one of the tougher ones, and so we recognize that, and we've got to be as good or better than we've been at all of our big games this year. And girls know that, but they're excited about it. And when you look at the schedule and you see BYU as your season finale, you're like, well, that'd be nice if something was on the line there. It would have also been nice if we'd have wrapped it up before then, but it's us and BYU, and we got a shot at something great, and we're going to certainly go for it, but not without understanding what we're up against.
You mentioned big games. Obviously, West Virginia was a pretty big one. That was on the road. How did you see your team kind of respond to that situation?
I think they really have the mentality for that game. It is hard to go to Morgantown. It is hard to play there. Their field is not like any other that we play on all year. It's good, but it's just so different, so thick, so long, so wet all the time. It's just a different way that you have to kind of plow the ball through that thick grass, and we just didn't even flinch. I mean, it was one of our most, I think, mentality performances in many years up there, because it's hard to win there. We haven't won there too many times, and so I thought we were the better team from start to finish. They were scary because they are scary, but we deserved the win and was really happy for the girls to get it.
Well, what's the benefit of having this one here on your home pitch?
Well, no travel, right? So the wear and tear factor should be better, and our crowds are nuts. Red Raiders love a big game. They love to be there and be a part of it, and for the last several years we've built such big crowds that these big nights have been just it's what you go to college to play in front of the hometown and home faithful, I should say, and have it be loud and obnoxious. Red Raiders aren't the most polite fans, but if they'll just be loud and supportive as always, then we'll take a lot of energy from that.
Coach, from your road trip, obviously West Virginia and Cincinnati, what did you feel like you learned from that road trip? And do you feel like Cincinnati was your most complete game this season so far?
Well, I think those two was our most complete double of the year. Mentality was great, passing was great. Our final third kind of tenacity was back after really settling for a bunch of goals and set pieces and things. So, yeah, it just kind of brought our team into the fold, because we told them, look, you come out of this weekend with 6 points, you're going to play for the title. And we didn't expect TCU to lose, so that's what happened. So after the game, our first mention of playing for the championship was there, and we said, look, we're going to go play for it now, and if we keep this mentality, we got a great shot.
Going into the Big 12 tournament, does being the one or the two seed really matter to the girls or you?
No, it's got to be decided somehow. I'm glad it didn't go into a coin flip. I mean, at some point they flip a coin, or it comes down to yellow cards or something. But it's goal differential, and I think it's goals against. Maybe we would have won the goals against. They won the goals for, and so one or two, depending on how anybody finishes, could be decided by the results of the game, or it could be decided by the tiebreaker. And either way, you're going to get, number 11 or number 12 in the Big 12. Which, by the way, there's a couple good teams lurking down around the bottom right now that I don't think anybody really wants to play. So we'll have to see how it turns out.
Looking at BYU, what stands out about them specifically?
They're just committed. Athletes, committed. They're younger this year than they were last year, which some people have thought would provide some opportunities. I see a very similar team from last year, well coached, and they run and gun. I mean, if they can get an 18-18 game, they're going to play it, and you've got to be prepared for that.
Are there any key matchups you see that's going to be decisive for your team to come home with them?
Yeah, I think their forward, who scored a ton of goals, she's very good, and our back line is going to be important. And I think our two nines versus their two center backs is going to be really important. And whoever Peyton Parsons has is important, because she's been so creative for us and so dynamic in so many ways that we want to take advantage of that situation if we can.
Talking about her, obviously 2 goals in the last 2 games. She scored a bunch early, took a little bit of a hiatus, and then came back and scored 2 goals. What do you see from her the last 2 games from Peyton?
Just comfortable. Peyton, this is the first time she's played this many minutes, first time she's been a full-time starter, and the first time she's had teams game planning her. When you score 8 goals, teams are coming up with a game plan. Everything's on video, obviously. So I think she was dealing with tight marking, and some days she was dealing with double teams. So just pushing through all that. And look, Peyton's a winner. I mean, look at her and Molly and Kyle. Those Colorado kids, they come from such a winning tradition in the locker room, on the field, and Peyton is a winner. And so I knew she was going to push through, and thankfully it's happening at the right time of year.
With the playoffs coming up, do you treat the playoffs differently than you would the regular season, when you know that you can go home at any time?
Well, there is another tomorrow, but there's either a tomorrow with a trophy, there's one without it. So I think there is no tomorrow. because of what's on the line, and that's the mentality that's got to be in place.
You don't change your preparation at all?
No, we stay the same. Yeah, everything stays the same. You know, you can overhype your team, and then they start thinking about all that. And they can read all the stuff, and they can start thinking about all that. But we just want them to think about their job, the game they have to play, how badly they want to win for their teammates. Seniors, they're going to be playing some of the, possibly their last game here. So there's a lot to play for that results in the right mindset of getting the victory.
Do you know Chloe's status for this game? I know she had an injury in the Cincinnati game.
Yeah, we're day-to-day still.
Day-to-day, okay. I think Friday will mark the when you played all the new teams that have played with BYU, all the teams that came in last year, all the new teams this year. What have those 8 teams really added to the Big 12 in your eyes?
Well, I've just brought the overall level of the league up. BYU being the class of that group that came in, and nobody's really denying that. They were picked to win the league this year. They were picked to win the league last year. So that's the class of it. But the rest of them, they're just good. I mean, Pac-12 teams have a certain style. I think all those teams are having to adapt a little and adopt a different kind of maybe manner to play in Big 12 soccer, whatever that means, just like we would have had to adapt to Pac-12 soccer. So, they're just good, well coached. I think that maybe in some cases those teams were surprised at how good everyone in the Big 12 was, and in some cases we've been really impressed with how good they've been. So great additions. Those teams are all going to compete for titles at some point. They just got to get their feet under them in this league.
Back to Andrew's question about, preparation for the postseason and everything. Can you kind of argue you guys have been doing that with this race atop the Big 12 standings? That, basically fighting in a playoff style to stay atop the conference anyway?
Last year when we got ahead, we knew that it was ours to win, and we had to fight off everyone for like 3 weeks, and we were able to do that. So this felt very similar. Like, we're at the top. We're obviously tied with TCU. They had to fight off teams. We've had to fight off teams, and we're both just trying to get that last win. So it does feel similar. Our upperclassmen have been great. Mason, at least, great leadership down that road. It's just easy. People are telling you you're good, or you see a trophy, to just focus on that. And you lose your edge when you do that. And here comes a buzzsaw, right? Just ready to chop you in half. So we just weren't interested in that. If we get outplayed and someone else beats us, we're going to tip our hat, but we're going to try to play our hardest every night. And that seems to work for us.
Probably a better question for after the game, but last year you guys took the title on the road in Ames. What would it mean to you to be able to do it on your home?
See, he's trying to get me to start dreaming. The truth is, the being at home piece is big because no travel, in our own beds, very comfortable with our routine, big crowd. So we understand the advantage here, and we're going to take advantage of it. And then hopefully it's a special night just to experience a game with this much on the line for our team, for our fans, for our coaches. Like, it's what you come to college for, big games, right? And so certainly this is a big one.